Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We up in this thing for another episode of the Coma. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this episode of the Coma. The Saints, and like we talked about, the Saints were working behind the scenes to get the draft picks signed. And remember, it's not like it used to be. Like it's a table set. It's already pre-organized in terms of the signings. So it was just a matter of time before the Saints got everything together. They got everybody except for Kool-Aid McKinstry, which that should be happening. And it's only a matter of time before we get that done as well. So shout out to the fam. We're going to cover that in this episode of the show. We're going to go over what RG3 said about Spencer Rattler. We also going to cover the NOLA.com's article about Derek Carr. If you guys didn't hear about that, he did a interview with the NOLA.com staff, and I just read it, and I think this they just released it not too long ago, and I wanted to make sure I covered and talked about some of the things that was said there. We'll go over that today. So if you please, as you guys come filtering in. Used to be Big Q. Yeah, well, brother, you know, I'm it's a part of the game, my brother. You know, we got to, we as we get a little up there, I call it more experienced. As we get more experience in the game, we got to refine our game as well, the health perspective and all that, but still big for the Who Dat Nation, baby. That's all I got to say. So shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the stream, man. Trav 504 Elite, big ups to you. Roll was popping, baby. Appreciate you. Poppy 504. Dana, shout out to all the queens in the building. You know, I love my queens. Kai the Great, my dog Kai the Great, shout out to you. Young City, big ups to you. OG Jerry is in this thing as well. Black Major, shout out to you, sir. Appreciate you. Brother Gundam is in this thing as well. Much love, fam. Appreciate all and each and every last one of you for chiming in tonight, man. Appreciate you guys sharing your Thursday night here with the Coma. Bronze, I see you, Bronze. Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you as well. Mall and Mall is in this thing. Did you hear McDonald's killed Burger King in front of Five Guys? So yeah, you throwing them all in there. I see. White Castle. All right, it says, are you going? Me and Popeye's taking a subway. I think that's a question you asked Suede. You know, that's what you got to ask Black Suede. Pelicans Nola, shout out to you, man. Good to see you in the chat as well. Big ups to Pelicans Nola. Much love. Tedra, big ups to you. Dr. Key, how you doing, sir? GM Kev, what's popping, baby? Carl Dennis Lucia. Nah. For what, Kev? For what? For what? Why would I need to call Dennis Lucia and tell him, hey, man, go evaluate your employee? Why? Why, bro? I mean, we've proven a lot. Man, we've had an impact. I'm not gonna lie to you, fam. We've had an impact. It's not like, it's the dominant message. And that's what carries the day. That's why I always speak about, like, when I talk my empowerment talk, I always attempt to kind of tell the family members and kind of remind them of their power in situations like this, because far too often the establishment likes to pretend that it's in positions of power. It's only in a position of power because you allow them to be. Fam, listen, I got a show that I'm gonna be talking about on Patreon that I'm working on. I was trying to get my topics together for my On Q Big Q show, which is a news show I do. That's when I really kind of talk it up on a lot of stuff. But that's on Patreon for our family members, patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. I'm gonna be doing that show on Patreon this weekend. And it's another season of it. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, a lot of the stuff that's going on right now could be stopped if you wanted it to. Just make it in your mind and says enough is enough. And you would shut it all down instantaneously. So that's the power dynamic. That's what I always talk about. Everything is inverted. That's how the world operates. It's all inverted. It's all inverted. Like, whatever they say it is, it's not what it is. It's the opposite. That's how it works, which shouldn't surprise anybody. The reason why I'm saying that is because you're having an impact when you're having these discussions here, and you're having an impact on what's going on with the Saints. If you watch the face of Mickey Loomis last year with the last season with the end of the season press conference, when he got up there and he was all flustered. When the last time you ever seen him look like that? He never looked like that. That was the pressure of the Who Dat Nation firmly on him. It wasn't for Gail. It wasn't from Gail. It wasn't from Gail. Damn sure wasn't from Gail or from Dennis Lucia. We've already found this out, fam. It's like nothing that I'm saying. People can't dispute what I'm saying because it's the truth. I just have a very blunt way of saying it, because it's not time to play these sugary games. It's not time for that. It's time for people to get the real, and that's on every level. But when we talking about the Saints, ain't no need to call Dennis Lucia to tell him to do his damn job. Everybody know that you're supposed to be evaluating talent. That's what a president of football operation. If you're going to do that, it's just a reclassification of titles. Because I can really think of a way that we can have it solved, in the Saints organization. Two things, two moves higher up in the organization, and then it'll go out through the rest of the organization. One, take the president of football operations tag, actually three moves, because it'll bring in 1, 2, 3. It'll bring in three people, three new people to the hierarchy of the Pelicans and the Saints combined, just three people. And then it's 3 added new titles and then reclassification of titles with personnel we have. For instance, you can't get rid of the owner, but other guys underneath, Dennis Lucia's need to be his title needs to be reclassified to president of business operations. Business operations. The football, or the president of football operations, should be then a guy similar to a John Lynch, who is what he's doing right now for the 49ers. Why John Lynch? Because and there's a lot of guys out there that fit this, that's either talking about the game right now on television, or they're assisting people that I'm like a John Lynch in current NFL teams. That new person will be the new football of operations. He'd be the president of football operations, which means he's the biggest football brain in the building. So I would take Dennis Lucia and turn him into president of business operations, which means he's a businessman. He makes the money. That's why he's there. The football operations title would be stripped away from him and given to a person that is a football mind, that was a former player, a good player, who is now on the executive level, who would then come in and operate that. He would be the biggest mind in the building. So and everybody under him that'll be answerable to him would be Mickey Loomis, so on and so forth. That would be their boss. And the reason why I would do that is because you fulfill both things. You would make sure the business gets straight with Dennis Lucia, because he's a good businessman. I can't take nothing away from him. He just don't know anything about football. And then you would have the new person outside of Saint culture that come here and oversee the administrators from the vice president. Well, he would be the vice president, or the president title. Mickey would answer to him because Mickey's a vice president and general manager. The other move I would do would strip Mickey Loomis of the general manager title and give that to Kai Hartley and make him become the new general manager. Those two moves on the Saints side just changed the franchise hopes over the next 20 years. Just those two moves, because you add more brains and then more know-how and more youth. You infuse new people into the upper layers of the Saints administration. That'll bring accountability there. That'll force people to be on code. So you still keep Dennis Lucia to be a good businessman. You still have Mickey Loomis as a vice president under the president, which would be the John Lynch type. You have a new general manager who would be Kai Hartley. That sets everything different. That brings in fresh ideas. That brings in youth. That brings up the IQ level of the Saints administrators. That wakes it all up, and it takes the power of the vice president and the general manager out of the hands of one dude. So if he's tripping, that's too much power for him to yield, especially when he's not doing his job and admitting to you that he doesn't do evaluations, which is a part of a general manager's job. That's why the Saints are failing in large part. They're failing because and I talk about this a lot, but him not doing these evaluations is not just over the team, it's over Dennis Allen. So if Dennis Allen's failing out there, he's supposed to be on a week-to-week basis. He's supposed to be putting pressure on him. The reason why he's not putting no pressure on him, because he's comfortable and he feels safe in his position. That's why I would take the general manager position and put a guy over him that could fire him if the team underperforms. Excuse me. Got a little cough I'm dealing with. And then from the Pelicans side, I would basically do the same thing, because Dennis Lucia he's the president of basketball operations. The vice president is David Griffin. Once again, he doesn't know anything about pro basketball. That's the problem with some of the Saints organizations, is the vision at the top is not completely there. And a simple reclassification of titles and a couple of people brought into the organization wakes things up. The only reason why a guy like Mickey Loomis would challenge that is because he loses power. In that dynamic, he thinks that he loses power. But then again, it's not about you feeling some kind of way. We are looking into the future, and we got to keep this thing going. So, like I said, you're a relic from the hang on. Say, you're a relic, but it's time for you to go. You done did your time. It's time for you to move on, like Bill Kuharic and the rest of these guys that we had at one point in time. It was just time for you to go. It's time for you to move aside. Let youth take the team into the future. And I'm saying he's being way too selfish. He wants to sit there and hold on to something that he shouldn't have, when it's a different thing. This argument for me would be tough to give to you if he was winning. See, that's the point. I wouldn't be saying this because it wouldn't be valid. I wouldn't be saying something that's not valid. But I'm looking at the team and saying we need a reclassification of guys at the top. You don't have to fire the guys because they like those guys. Just reclassify these guys and bring new people in. Just two people. Two people for the Saints side, the ones that I mentioned, reclassification, and then on the side with the Pelicans. Because we need somebody that knows what they're doing. Let me say this, because I'm going to do a flash report, or then again I might just wait, because we got a Pelican post-game report show coming up for tomorrow, call-in show for the Pelican people. And I got the flash today, a news item that the Phoenix Suns fired their coach Frank Vogel. Now, Frank Vogel won a championship with the Lakers just several years ago. He took them, they won a championship. And he took over the job for Phoenix just this year. They finished with 49 wins or something like that. They won for almost 50 games, similar to Willie Green. One season, they fired the man after one season. Now, what's that have to do with the Pelicans? The new owner comes in and says, listen, we're not playing no game. I got a high payroll. We got to win. We've been beaten in the playoffs. We out of here. It's a difference in mentality when you have administrators at the top that want to do something. A lot of these guys are too comfortable, man. We've been saying that for a long time. They come in here with all this spill and they talking too much. And like I said, we do all these shows. A lot of the stuff that we say during these shows, it's amazing because then they go back and do what we say. Like, and I'm like, man, I had to ask DC, bro, we warlocks or something? How everything? He said, man, they listening. They doing everything we said they do. They going on do it. I'm telling you everything. Everything they say, we do it. And that's not by chance. It's like I know these people, man. I done studied these people. I know their signature. When I told David Griffin he talks too much, he's out there running around, you're too vocal. We need to see he the VP. We need to see the general manager. He stopped talking, and then we start seeing the general manager more. All that type of stuff. Just all that type of stuff. And it's just more and more and more and more and more. So, like I said, if you're serious about winning, and the reason why a lot of times people take advantage of these people that don't know in a world, man. If you don't know something, this the type of world where people will take advantage of you. That's what kind of world we live in. That could be better if we took more responsibility to get them type of people out of there that's stealing and lying and like a lot of the degenerate filth that goes around. We could stop all of that. The only thing we have to do is make up our mind and say, we're not playing that. You're not going to do that. We're not going to support you. And you'll shut them down really easy. But that's the problem, is what I'm saying. A lot of the stuff that we see that's happening with these organizations is because they're taking advantage of the owner. The owner doesn't know, and they know the owner doesn't know. I know she doesn't know basketball like where she's supposed to be knowing basketball. Gail's supposed to be studying in her part-time, pastime, whatever you want to call it. You got two multi-billion-dollar organizations. You're putting too much trust in guys around to run it. You need to study more about what the game is about. You need to study up on, or get counseled up, talk to people that speak your language, so that when you get in a room with these people and they're telling you this stuff, that you can be able to be on code and understand what they're saying and not just rely on what they're doing. Or you would get a David Griffin or a Mickey Loomis who are employees acting like they're owners. That's not supposed to be the case. But the Phoenix Suns fired Frank Vogel, and that was wrong for him to do. But listen, that's when people are serious about winning. We don't hold trash and off-court nonsense. We don't do that. There's a higher standard to winning. It's a higher standard to winning, and the people are acting that way. The owners are acting that way because they understand that the people are not going to tolerate that. They're not going to give money away to a bad product. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it, and we're not going to do it. So at the end of the day, that would be my answer to it. Gail needs to study up on these franchises. She needs to learn the game from both sides, basketball and football, more if you're going to own this stuff. Or my bad, governor. They call them the governors now. If you're going to govern it, you have to be able to know both ends of it. And even if like I said, she needs to hire an advisor that's outside of the Saint culture, that has no ties to none of these Saints people or Pelican people, who has knowledge inside executive and every other level to operate on both sides of those teams, to tell her what's going on with these teams. That way there is an accountability avenue there where that person who reports only to her, everybody else have to also, that person would be a boss, and they would make recommendations on who should go because of evaluations that's done. The problem is none of that's going on. None of that's going on. And I heard this before. Let me address this and we'll get right into the news. And I've been hitting this point home the last several shows about accountability. That's the winning strategy. What is it going to take for the Saints to win and take it to the next level? Accountability. People doing what they're supposed to do and not what they're not supposed to do. But that don't start at the player level. That starts at above them. It starts from the owner all the way down. But if you got a owner who doesn't know a lot, she knows some things, but not a lot about it, then that's being trusted with the top two people, which would be Lucia, who doesn't know a lot about football or basketball. He's a businessman. And then the top brain for the football is Mickey Loomis. That's too much power for Mickey Loomis to have, in my opinion. That's why I was saying that if you're going to keep Mickey there, break him away from the general manager position and give that other guy the position. At least he's younger. He's younger to the players. He's more in tune with today's NFL, and he went through all the training to become a general manager. Why are we letting training these guys to go somewhere? Because Mickey Loomis refuses to give up the general manager position. It ain't like he got one job. He has 2 jobs. He don't need both of them, fam. He doesn't need both of them. That's my point. And even if I don't like Mickey Loomis and what he's been saying and this elitist mentality, when you're just a worker, you don't own nothing. You're a worker. You work for that lady. You know, you might be on her wheel somewhere. I don't even know about that. But even if that's the truth, you're still a worker. You're still a worker. So that would be my recommendation, because they ain't gonna fire him because they don't run the organization like a business, like it's supposed to. And that is why the Saints are going to have difficulties moving forward, because people are running their organizations like businesses. I'm not saying nothing that's new or outlandish. I'm telling you what's going on around the league with successful teams. They run their teams like businesses, and you're supposed to. The Saints run it like an old mafia family. That's what I said. Guys don't get evaluated. They don't get checked on. They just get, whenever this guy screws up, the guy covers for him, as opposed to lambasting him. There was no Mickey Loomis checking Dennis Allen when he threw his team under the bus and apologized to the Falcons. He ain't going there and, man, well, Dennis, listen, God damn it, you can't do that. Oh, listen, you got my blood boiling here. You can't apologize to the Falcons. Oh my God, you can't. Listen, you can't do that. God damn it, you really messed up that time. Listen, I'm burning up now. You can't do that. You think Mickey Loomis told Dennis Allen that? He didn't do that. He didn't do that. He didn't do that at all. No, he didn't talk about it. He didn't mention it. So what I'm saying is, man, you got to be serious about winning. Now, listen, let me spread this out too before I go into it. Don't get too excited about what you're seeing right now. Don't get too excited. I'm not telling you not to get excited. Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. Now, why? Because every offseason, and we've been doing this for a while, y'all know, the Saints do make good moves. They do these things during the offseason. But the issue has been under Dennis Allen, how does it translate from off to on, go from the off to the on season? That's when you start paying attention and seeing if there's some growth there. That's what it is. So I never get too high during the off season. I really don't. I say, I like this person. I like this signing. I'm happy about this. I'm happy, but I never get too high in the off season, because I know there's a transition from the off to the on, and under Dennis Allen, that's when we have problems. Taking that energy from the off to the on and taking the talent that we have from the off season into the in season and translating it into winnable, successful games. That's what I'm talking about. And we've seen that as a struggle with this current administration. So I want y'all not to get too high. Don't get too excited about what you're seeing, because if you do, you might be prone for a letdown. And we don't need no more letdowns, especially from the Saints, man. Over these last couple of years, it's been really interesting. All right, Saints ink 5 draft picks to deals today. Kool-Aid McKinstry was the only one right here. Niles drove it. Shout out to Niles, man, and our contributors at the WhoDatDaily.com, man. So blessed, man, to have these people, man, really working out. And y'all, if y'all don't know about it, the link is in the description section below. Our own sports website. We've been having a sports site for like 4 years now. The WhoDatDaily.com. We've been covering some stuff. We also start dipping off into entertainment stuff. We got an entertainment writer that's kicking in, and she's working on articles as we speak. So the WhoDatDaily.com, if you don't know, share the articles, man. That's the mighty Who Dat Nation. That's the Sports Coma, the Great Saint Think Tank, the PRO Media Network. We a force. All right, so anyway, this is the article right here. Saints secure new talent with multi-contracts. Saints have made significant moves to pick up their roster by signing their 2024 draft picks to 4-year deals announced by Vice President. 5 of their signings, 5 of the 2024 draft picks to 4-year deals announced by Mickey Loomis. This decision brings fresh talent across various positions. The enhancements leading the pack of new Saints is Talisi Fuaga, a first-round pick and standout tackle from Oregon State. Fuaga's collegiate career was marked by impressive performances on the field, playing in 39 games with 25 starts, All-American recognition, stuff like that. And he was just, tearing it up. We talked about Fuaga ad nauseum prior to the draft and during the draft. Quarterback Spencer Rattler is another high-profile addition, brings dynamic play from his time at Oklahoma and South Carolina, showcasing strong stats, 68.5% completion rate and 77 touchdowns, which is pretty respectable, beyond respectable. Rattler's experience and accolades, like being the MVP of the Reese's Senior Bowl, suggests he's ready to take. He played really well in that game, by the way. I was looking at the highlights from the Senior Bowl. He played really well in that game, man. He kind of highlighted himself there. And then, of course, look at the rest of the picks. Saints strategic draft selections include wide receiver Bub Means from Pittsburgh, linebacker Jalen Ford from Texas, and defensive tackle Christian Boyd from Northern Iowa, each bringing some talent to the team. Means, a fifth-round pick, demonstrated remarkable receiving skills with 90 career receptions and 10 touchdowns. Ford consistency and formidable defense evidenced by 287 career tackles and participation in the college football playoff made him a valuable asset. And then Boyd's record from Northern Iowa shows promise in enhancing the Saints defensive line with his experience and stats like 149 tackles and 10 and a half sacks over his college career. Pretty impressive. And then, of course, you got the future prospect, which is Kool-Aid McKinstry. The signing spree is the Saints' favorite before upcoming season, but the attention still remains now on cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry, the second-round pick who is yet to sign. Stay tuned. And, of course, you see the table right here that he added with all of the players being brought in here. You see everybody that signed. Fuaga, Rattler, Means, Ford, Boyd, and Josiah Israhim is there as well. And then, of course, this is even added this here, which was, I found it really interesting, where they didn't announce some of the contracts. But like I said, there's a table out there in the NFL that tells you what each player will get from position one all the way down to the Mr. Irrelevant position. And this is the forecasted thought process of how much the contracts are going to be according to that NFL rookie pay scale or that table. So Fuaga, 4 years, and of course they have the option for the 5 on the first round pick, $17 million. According to Sport Track, 17.35 according to Over the Cap. It's two different figures, but right around the same ballpark. Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's currently unsigned, when he finally gets signed, the amount will be just over $9 million. 9.16 says Over the Cap. Spencer Rattler all the way down in the 5th round at 150, 4 years at 4.35 mil, between 4.36 according to Over the Cap. Bub Means, the wide receiver out of Pitt, he was in the 5th round, 170, 4.27 for him, or 4.28 according to Over the Cap. Jalen Ford, who's another 5th round pick, 175, is 4 years, 4.27 or 4.28 as Over the Cap says. 6th round pick, 199, Christian Boyd, the defensive tackle, 4 years at 4.19 or simply 4.2 according to the table. And then, of course, the 7th round selection is Josiah Israhim, which is the offensive tackle from Eastern Kentucky, 4 years at 4.12 mil. And that goes according to the rookie pay scale. So it was cool for him to throw that in there because no contracts was put up there. But you don't really need to if you do your research like he did. They have a table set where these guys are ultimately going to sign around that amount of money. It's not, it's not written in stone, but it's usually estimated around that amount of money. So big ups for and we know the Saints was going to do this. So good getting the majority of the draft picks involved for the rookie mini camp, getting these guys on code. As soon as you can get these guys signed and into camp, the faster you can get them into the system, the fastest you can get these guys to be contributors in whatever particular room that they come from. Having them there, getting them worked out, getting them in football shape is a big part of the success model. So got to credit the Saints for doing that much. All right, shout out to you. Molly Mall says, Q, Mickey and David Griffin have the dream job where the boss doesn't worry about firing them. Indeed, that's a big problem, man. That's why I was saying Gail needs to study up, man. Or if she doesn't study, she needs a separate advisor for both teams that have a playing background and is an executive background. And they have those guys because a lot of players, it's like a Joe Dumars, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about, like a Joe Dumars type who played ball and then he left ball and then he became a really good executive. Same as what's the guy from the Phoenix Suns, the brother from the Phoenix Suns. He was another one that played basketball and then went up to the executive level. They're littered all over the place. It's not like these are unicorns. These people are everywhere. It's just the Saints and the Pelicans don't do a good enough job of finding, she has to have a vision for the team. Gail doesn't have a vision for the team. Her vision is what Tom Benson's vision was. She has to have her own vision because she's the owner. She has to have the vision because she might share his vision at one time, but Tom Benson is no longer with the living. Has transitioned to hopefully a higher realm, but she has to have her vision. She has to have her energy and her direction over this team. And if she don't feel like she knows enough, she needs to get somebody she bring in that's separate from that culture and have them to kind of go, watch over the team and then report back to her what's really going on. So you have two accounts. You hear what they're saying, and you have her personal advisors telling her what's going on and advising her according to their experience. I would and see the Saints and the Pelicans. See, the money gets in the way because at times it's a problem. Like they had an opportunity to have Joe Dumars. They created the vice president of basketball operations title for Joe Dumars. That's the history of it. Because it was prior to that, there was no VP of basketball operations in New Orleans. The highest the position was for the Pelicans was general manager, which was Dale Demps. And they created it for Joe Dumars, and Joe Dumars was supposed to, he was like, yeah, I'll love to do it. And Joe Dumars is from Louisiana. Like, I love to do it, but it's going to cost this much. And Joe Dumars ain't no bum. He's a Hall of Fame player, and he won a championship as an executive. He built the the Pistons up into something. So he made them relevant. He made them relevant for many years, and they were good for many years. So he comes with a resume. Those guys, you got to pay them. Tom Benson says no. He said no to what Joe Dumars asked, and then he gave the VP job to Dale Demps. I know all these people stuff, man. That's what I do. I'm a researcher. I know Saints and I know my people. I know I'm fully researched on these people. I'm not up here just spitting just to be spitting. I know what I'm talking about. I know what the hell I'm talking about. And they turned it down because of the money. And that comes back to bite. You can't compete with other teams that have these type of people there, and you got a guy up there who, and no disrespect to David Griffin, but David Griffin got a championship as a general manager, but we know who was actually running the team. It was LeBron James. LeBron James told him, hey, man, give me this dude, give me that dude, give me that dude, give me that. That's what he does. That's what he does. Hell, I would have got a championship as a general manager if LeBron James was the guy, because all you did, LeBron will tell you, hey, man, give me this dude. I want him winning. And he went and got him a championship. Then the man said he wanted his team back. LeBron went wherever he went. David Griffin took another, end up leaving that from up over there. And he's like, I got a championship ring. What's up? I'm a championship GM. Bro, asterisk, man. You know what I'm saying? Asterisk, big time asterisk. We know that's a different thing going on there. So I ain't trying to discredit them, but if you look at how teams compete, there is no way in the world that you give secret. And listen, this is the Saints and Pelicans culture, man. That's why I be getting some upset. Do you people know? Do you, the great Saint think tank, and I know most of y'all probably not Pelican people. Hell, I am. Let me just say this. What if you had an organization that had the same owner, right? I'm not going to say who, you already know. And the president of basketball operations for your organization secretly signed your coach, who was on the last year of his deal. The VP was on the last year of his deal, and the GM was on the last year of their deal. They secretly signed them to contracts late last year, and then leak it this year right after the regular season that those guys had contract extensions. What kind of crap is this? What is this? Who does that? When you sign or when you issue extensions, that's reported on the same day. Who holds that kind of information from November or so of last year and don't tell you about it until 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, whenever it was, when they started the first game and got the and lost a couple of, whatever it was. But it's at least 2 weeks ago. So you sign them to secret extensions that hold the information and then don't release it to right after the NBA regular season. Oh yeah, by the way. And then none of the reporters report on, do you guys have contract extensions or not? And then they don't even tell you how many years the contract's in. What kind of business is this, man? What's going on here? How do you issue extensions to a coach without saying what he's going to do for that year? How do you do that? You know, what kind of evaluating are you guys doing, man? What kind of direction are you guys doing? What are you doing? It's just it's unfathomable. That is low, that is low and underhanded, such stupid, rotten ass business practices. Secret extensions for and this is the same team. Gail owned them too. What kind of crap is going on here, man? What's going on here? So it's just unfathomable to me, man. The kind of crap. That's why I be riding down on these people, man. Because they do some of the most underhanded garbage that you can possibly imagine, and then stand up there like they're reputable. You're a fraud. You're a fake. Nobody. If you're saying we're gonna do evaluations, we're gonna do this, and it starts with me. We're gonna do evaluation, and then you don't go into the season and do evaluation. You're a fraud, man. If you don't want to do it because you're emotional, get a damn job away to somebody else who will do it. Emotions don't have nothing to do with this. This is business, man. It's amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. All right, anyway, let's move on to the next one, man. I want to play a piece of this article right here. Y'all tell me if y'all can hear this. This is what Robert Griffin III said about Spencer Rattler. And it's just a 6-minute clip. And then we're going to move on to the NOLA.com article. I'm going to try not to keep you guys this long, because I do have some other work to do. But here's what he said. Put one in the chat, please, if you can hear this.
But before we get there, on this episode of our Dragon Ball Z times NFL Draft Project, we got the QB still of the draft, Spencer Rattler, the quarterback from South Carolina. And he is Super Saiyan 2 Team Gohan. The distinction is important. But before we get there, let me show you what I saw on tape. Of all the quarterbacks in this year's draft class, Spencer Rattler probably had the worst offensive line. No hate on them, because he never complained about it, but it shows up routinely throughout his tape.
That's true.
But right here, you are going to see the man, Spencer Rattler, with his identification pre-snap, owning the line of scrimmage, and also operating in tense quarters. Right here, Spencer Rattler, before the snap of this ball, is walking up. And you see that point right there. He's pointing to this linebacker right here. And my man said, "Hey, bro, what you pointing at me for? Why you got to point at me? I'm not blitzing." Yes, he is.
Yep,
and Spencer Rattler is actually not telling the offensive line to go to that guy. What he's doing is he's telling the running back, "Hey, you're responsible for blocking that guy." Sometimes we think every time the quarterback goes up and points at someone, he's talking to the offensive line or he's trying to redirect things. Spencer Rattler is just trying to make sure that he's protected right here. And he needs his running back to know, "Hey, that's your guy." So watch him get back, because he sees the clock is running down and he gets this ball snapped. And guess who blitzes? The man who was sitting there saying, "What you pointing at me for?" Running back comes across the formation, picks him up. Now, if you make this count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kentucky's blitzing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rushers. Okay, so 6 for 6. In your mind, you're thinking at home, "Oh, he's fine, he's picked up." But as a quarterback, you always know that even when they bring the same amount of guys that you're blocking, you might not be hot, but it's definitely going to be a hot pocket. Watch him inside this pocket. Step up. And he's about to make this throw. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't know what they put in hot pockets. But sometimes, or somehow, some way, you find a way to make it work. And that's exactly what Spencer Rattler does here. Finding Xavier Leggett on a double post concept for a touchdown inside of that condensed hot pocket. Right here, you'll see it. They're running double post. He's going to run a post across this safety's face. Leggett is going to run a post to get across the nickel safety's face. And that's exactly what happens. Boom. Right here, Rattler knows, I got my guy. I got to trust that he's going to cross face and give him a big boy ball so he can go up and make a play for me. And that's exactly what he does. This is beautiful execution on all sides. Pre-snap, post-snap, not being afraid to make plays inside of a bad pocket, or should I say not a bad pocket, but a tight pocket. Spencer Rattler showed that routinely throughout his tape that I watched at South Carolina. But that's not it. I want you to also, if you can, go watch the entire Florida game, because the Florida game was really a true masterpiece by Rattler. Even though they lost the game, he did a lot of great things that NFL executives have told me they cannot wait to see if they translate to the NFL, because they think they do. Right here, there's no middle safety. This safety is back deep, but he's playing a half to double this receiver on the outside. Because of that, when Rattler comes out of this play fake, his eyes are right down the middle of the field. And he's like, hey, yo, fam, ain't nobody there. I got to make a play. Well, guess what? As he's looking straight down the field, he also sees this big old hand and this big old body from Florida coming right down on him. So he doesn't have an opportunity to set his feet to make the throw that he needs to make. So watch what he does. He continues to gain depth, and he throws this post off his back foot. Let's see how many yards. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. 55 yards down the field to Xavier Legette to give him an opportunity to make a play. But it wasn't just a HBO type of throw. You know, hey, help a brother out. It wasn't one of them. He hit this man dang near stride. 55 yards down the field, throwing the ball off his back foot with a defender in his face. If that doesn't scream arm talent and awareness of the field and spatial awareness of what's going on, I don't know what does. But it's not just that, because the days of the pocket passer, the true and only pocket passer in the NFL are long gone, people. The new prototypical NFL quarterback has to be able to beat you with their arms, their mind, and their legs, be a true triple threat. And Spencer Rattler showed that routinely. He is a phenomenal scrambler. Watch him right here. Too high shell defense. He drops back to pass. No one is there. He gets pressure from the right edge, from the left edge. He gets up the field, sprints down the field, making sure everybody knows that, hey, man, I'm that man. Oh, look at him getting hype. I'm getting hype with him, because I can tell you this. Spencer Rattler, coming out of high school, was one of the most lauded, sought-after prospects in the entire country. It didn't work out for him at Oklahoma, but when he got to South Carolina, he put all that adversity not just behind him, but he used it and cooked with it and used it as fuel. And you could see by the way that he played, he wanted to show people that he was still that guy. And that's why I say that Spencer Rattler is Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan. They both were surefire superstars when they showed up on the scene, talking trash, showing off all their skills. They both went through adversity and found a way to unlock their true potential. Gohan did it through his beast form transformation. Can Spencer Rattler find his ultimate form in the NFL? I think a lot of NFL executives think he can. Well, you know, it's always fun to...
All right, RG3. That's a good breakdown by RG3. And like I said, I've watched a lot of Spencer Rattler tape. I seen the Florida game, the whole game. And I remember watching him. Like I said, he's solid, but not spectacular to me. And that's just my take on Spencer Rattler. He does have certain skills. Like he showed him the back, throwing off the back foot. He did that a lot for South Carolina, because the line, you know, they had injuries on the offensive line. They always had pressure up the middle, and he had to throw off his back foot. And it was times when I watched the footage and RG3 didn't show. He didn't show everything. I mean, he couldn't. But there were times when Spencer Rattler didn't have any pressure, and he stepped into his throw, and the guy had to wait on the ball. It was accurate, but the wide receiver had to slow down and wait on the ball. So, like I said, I didn't have problems with his accuracy. But, you know, like I said, this will be an interesting guy. I like I said, he's a solid young QB to me. And a lot of times, like, you watch his film and you go back and you watch Mahomes' film, like from Mahomes at Texas Tech, how they moving around. It's similar, but I don't want to put that on him right now, because I think people are going to start doing that. I'm like, man, we're not going to. No, it's not it. I mean, he, from a physique standpoint, reminds you of him. He could be a relative of him. He can look like he could be his cousin or somebody, but that's where it stopped. Now, he has some talents and stuff like that, but like I said, Clint Kubiak could have something here. And like I said, one thing I don't deny about him is his intelligence. He's a very intelligent kid. I mean, he's an intelligent brother. And then on top of that, that fire and intensity that he had from him going, man, listen, he got a big chip on his shoulder. Word on the street, because where he went at, a lot of people felt like he should have went higher in the draft, and they'll talk about it more. But he got a big chip on his shoulder, going all the way middle of the 5th round. And you had that rival. I ain't gonna call it a rivalry, but you had Caleb Williams becoming the number 1 overall draft pick. It's from Chicago, and then him in the same draft going all the way down to the middle of the 5th round. So it's a big chip on his shoulder, which will bode well for us. So a lot of people looking at Spencer Rattler because of his potential, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can do, man. So I'm gonna keep an eye out on him, man. But the kid got talent, man. It's just like I said, he's solid, but nothing spectacular to me. Hey, let's move on, fam. Let's get into the last item of news that I want to talk about here. This is from NOLA.com. Shout out to them. Zach Ewens, the beat writer, staff writer for this report. He covers Derek Carr's offseason on his health, comfort level, the Saints draft, and Michael Thomas. We're going to go over this article right here. They wrote this, I think it was today. And let's go over it right quick. There are many words to describe Derek Carr's first season as a Saints quarterback. Normal isn't one of them. Carr and the Saints had an up and down year together, ending with a 9-8 season that fell short of the playoffs, and criticism of Carr's play from many places, one even inside of his own locker room. For me, last year was a fight to make everything feel normal, Carr said in an exclusive interview with Times Picayune. It was a struggle to make stretch line feel normal, the building feel normal, where I park every day. This offseason, I'm not finding a house. I'm not unpacking a house. I'm not finding a school, finding a church, meeting new people. All that is taken care of. The result is that Carr felt ready to commit this offseason almost entirely to the Saints. He's ramping back up after recovering from a shoulder injury that bothered him more last season than let on at the time. And of course, like I've documented, said this several times throughout the broadcasts of last year, is that the Saints and they held back the reports that Derek Carr had busted ribs. We were talking about that the whole damn season, and then a week or two before the season ends, they say, "Oh yeah, we forgot. Yeah, I had 3 broken ribs," and whatever he was saying. Yeah, I had something 3 broken ribs. I was playing with 3 broken. It's just unbelievable, man. Oh, he's fine. He's fine. Oh yeah, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. He had this, that, and the third. But then when the year gets ready to end, oh, here come the injury excuse. Here come the defaulted injury excuse. Yeah, I was playing with broken ribs. That's why that's what was really going on. So why the Saints didn't say that when you was playing with broken ribs, huh? Why they didn't tell us that then? We knew it all the time. But this is just underhanded way they do stuff, man. That's why I call this kind of bull crap out. If you hurt, say you hurt. Tell them to tell the truth. Tell them that you got broken ribs. That's why people don't really believe it, because you deny it when it was actually going on. And then when the games didn't matter, then you won't say that I was going through this. Man, come on, man. Nobody's going for that. The result is Carr felt ready to commit this offseason almost entirely to the Saints, ramping back up after recovering from a shoulder injury that bothered him last season. He's studying a new playbook under the incoming offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak. He's dealing with a new offensive line and receiving core. Most poignantly, he wants to be ready for a second season in New Orleans that will make the first feel like an aberration. I made a commitment to my team that any teammate that wanted to do anything, I'm going to do that all offseason. Carr said they want to go play cornhole. Pause. We're playing cornhole. They want to play golf. We're playing golf. They want me to come just dinner at the house. Man, we doing that too. All right. We talked about building the relationships and the utility we did towards the unity, we did towards the last half of the year. That was my main focus this offseason, and it's been really great. With the new season in mind, Carr addressed several other topics in the interview Wednesday at Saints practice. Among them was playing hurt. The Saints finished 4-2 with Carr playing his best football. He completed 74.4% of his passes in that stretch, best in the NFL, minimum 50 attempts, with 15 touchdowns against 3 interceptions, including 12 touchdowns and just 1 pick in the final 4 games. Why? The Saints started running the ball better, and you've seen play action Carr. Those are play action Carr numbers. That's his best thing when you have a new offense. Play action Carr, because when they're doing that, the secondary members, the safety got to come down, help out with the run support. They were running the ball better during that period of time and relying less on him as a passer. He's a compliment guy. At this angle, I don't know what the hell he was prior to when he was first stepped in the league. He was a deep ball thrower, and I still think that's his favorite thing to do. But play action Carr is the best quarterback for us. We need play action Carr on the back of the running attack, That's the best one. Part of the turnaround is due to Carr's improved health. He acknowledged Wednesday that an AC joint sprain he suffered in week 3 against the Packers bothered him more than he let on during the season. Really, the next month and a half was very frustrating. You're trying to prove to everyone that you can be out there, but knowing you're not going to put your best foot forward at the end of the day, nobody cares, man. You just want to win. Well, that's what $150 million going to give you. Nobody don't care about that. If you can't play, then don't play. If you're that hurt, because we don't want you to get even hurter, if that's a word. And also, we don't want to lose because of you being hurt and then using the hurt or the injury as an excuse to why we didn't win. See, that's another part of it that we don't want to hear nothing about. When you take $150 million, you take everything that comes with it. You take it all. The injury was so severe, Carr said, that he didn't do upper body lifts or even throw a football for 2 months after the season ended while he rehabilitated and recovered. Listen, I was telling people at the time, because I actually do think Carr was hurt. I remember seeing defensive back slap him on the ribs. He bent over in the fetal position. We knew and was saying this guy got busted ribs. We were saying it during the season when the Saints was denying it. You can look at him and see something was terribly wrong with him. But the Saints didn't give a goddamn. They pumped him up with that good dope, sent him out there to throw the ball as opposed to letting Jameis get in there. So we would play a busted up ass Carr all season long and keep Jameis on the bench perfectly healthy. Okay. Asked how he was able to play despite the pain. He said, we had a good plan with the training staff and doctors to make sure I was my best at game day. It's better living through chemistry sometimes. I'll just say that way. Now, you was pumped up with the good dope. Let me tell you the truth. It's better living through chemistry. No, you got pumped up with the good dope, which what was happening, because you could see in some of these games he was pumped up on that painkiller so much so his eyes, he had the glossy look on. I said, this guy ain't even out there. He ain't even out. You know how much painkiller they had to put in that man? If he is describing his injuries like this, and if he was in that much pain after the season was over with, you know what kind of painkiller they had to pump this dude up with so he can get out there and play a football game? People, it's insane. On the draft, in a news conference at Zurich Classic in late April, Carr said he trusted General Manager Mika Loomis, scouting director Jeff Ireland, Saints front office to pick the right players for the organization in 2024. On Wednesday, he was more forthright about the team's first-round pick. I sat there and said, I hope it's a tackle, Carr with a laugh, just because as a quarterback, you just love offensive linemen. I love my O-line. You love those guys. The front office tells you certain things. You get excited about what they're thinking. They took the guy that they were thinking about. They got him. It's exciting. The guy is Fuaga, 6'6", 324 from Oregon State, who's expected to step in and play a crucial role in protecting Derek Carr. It's exciting. It's exciting. I texted him and said, I'm going to get, here we go with the Texan. And I ain't going to even do that. I ain't going to even do the Carr with him texting. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say it. Yeah, I texted him a picture of the butterfly, and I ain't going to do all of that. I'm going to give you all that I have, Carr said. And I'm like, perfect. You got, he said, I'm excited. I texted him and said, I'm going to give you all that I have. Pause. And I'm like, perfect. You could just ask me for more than that. That's kind of cringy, but okay. The Saints offensive line is still full of question marks with Ramchek's chronic knee injury is a major problem. The retirement of James Hurst and the departure of Andrews and free agency to the Raiders. But Carr says his confidence in the group left New Orleans, particularly under Kubiak's offense. He's confident. The philosophy and the scheme, this is him talking, Carr, the philosophy and the scheme really fits the group we have now. I think that it's an exciting thing for me. I obviously excited to play in the system. He says you'll see all the quarterbacks that have played in it and see what they can be. But I also see probably the group that the most excited is probably our offensive line. The run game is unbelievable. The play actions, the rollouts, the timing of things. I'm really excited about this offense for that group of guys. And like I said, to run that type of system that we see the 49ers run, you have to have offensive linemen that can move. That's athletic, that can pull and move and get out there to get, pull and get to linebackers faster, offensive linemen on angles. They got to climb there, collapse that guy, get to the next level. So Elvin Kamara or Jamal or Kendre Miller or Taysom can get behind them and get to the next level. So those guys have to be on time for that to happen. So it's a very exciting system. You watch the 49ers play, man. If they are doing half of that, it should be impressive. Okay, he says too many QBs. One of the Saints' later draft picks for quarterback Spencer Rattler from South Carolina. If you count Taysom, who's listed as a quarterback but plays multiple positions, New Orleans briefly had 6 QBs on their roster, including the 2023 fourth rounder Jay Kaner. Kelly Mond was released Wednesday afternoon. Carr is fine with the extra options and the team trying to get young at the position. I'm 33 years of age. Taysom is 33. You have to eventually find someone to groom for the next several years to be that guy. And that is the mindset a lot of teams carry. You got a certain age, you have to figure that out. I understand having that. Nate is a good, solid piece to have. He's been in this system. He's been around me. You got 2 young guys ducking it out. It's really a healthy room when you think about it for New Orleans, and that's how it should be. Having said that, Carr said he's empathized with the Falcons' veteran quarterback, Kirk Cousins, who signed with Atlanta in offseason, only see the team use the 8th overall pick on Michael Penix, his supposed replacement. I'm sure he's probably thinking, I don't know what they have on that team offensively, but what about a lineman? What about a receiver? What about a back? I'm sure he had those thoughts. On Michael Thomas, early in the offseason, the Saints parted ways with veteran wide receiver Michael Thomas, who had 2 all-pro seasons and set the NFL single season record in receptions in 2019. In recent years, Thomas missed more games with injury than he played. Late in 2023, again on the sideline, Thomas posted criticisms of Carr on social media during a loss to the Lions and then repeated them after the season. Quote, I found out a lot of things about Mike. You find out how competitive he is, how fiery he is. He's protective of his guys, Carr said, but also I will say this, first and foremost, every time he did something, I just called him. I called him right away and said, what are you doing? You know, that's how I am. I'm getting tagged in things. Well, if you have a problem, you should have called me. Well, I did. I am a man. I handled it man to man. And every time it ended with love you, bro. We're good. But there's just some things you can't control. So you sleep good at night knowing what's right and what's correct and what's not. But that's the kind of stuff just doesn't have a place where you're trying to build a team. Really? So, and that's the thing. And Michael Thomas was upset at him for many different reasons. And all of them, in my point, are valid. He might have went to social media and but it's him tweeting about what Michael Thomas was saying about the ball that Derek Carr threw at him that was low. He went down. Remember, he got hurt on that pass. He was done for the year after that. After he left the field, that was over with. He talked about passes like Derek Carr not looking over the field. Derek Carr not going through his progressions. And see, all of this stuff could be checked on All 22 because I did it already. I already did the research. It's on Patreon. I watch all these games, all 22 of all these games Saints played this year. And the All 22 films show you everything. They show Carr staring down one side of the field while other guys running wide open on the other side of the field. That's why guys would get mad. Because you're not doing your job. You're not, and even with you saying this stuff, it's a degree of accountability that's obviously missing here. Well, yeah, I can see why Michael Thomas was mad at me. I was staring down the left side of the field and they had a guy running wide open. Or there was a guy on the other side that was single coverage with no safety support. And I was just staring it down. I was just looking and waiting for this guy to make a play. That was on me. Sometimes I seem to kind of, I stare down the field. I called Talise Fuaga. I texted him. I said, hey, listen, you're from Oregon State. I'm from Fresno State. Listen, I got a picture of a black and gold butterfly. I sent it to him. I called Michael Thomas. I told Michael Thomas, listen, are you mad at me? You're not? Okay. I love you, bro. Okay. I love you too. Okay. I'm gonna send bean pie to your house. Oh, you don't like bean pies? Okay. No. What kind of pie you like? Oh, no pies. Okay. I like pie. My favorite pie is apple pie. Oh, do you? Do you like? You don't like apple pie? No. Then I called Chris Olavi. And I sent him a picture of my car. He said, why you sending a picture of your car? Do you want to buy my car? He's like, no, I got a car. I'll give you my car. You can use my car. Why would I use your car? Because you can save gas. You can carpool. Wouldn't that mean me and you driving the car at the same time so we can get there at the same time? Yeah, that would mean that, wouldn't it? Okay, now I just stopped talking to him. That got boring. I just sent a text to Elvin. I said, Elvin, hey, how you doing? And it's just, man, listen. Obviously, there's some accountability that's going wrong here in this brief little snippet of what he was saying. The problem is, like, why the man mad? It's cause and effect, bro. And that's the thing. I'm like, dude, you might have taken too many shots to the head, bro. Because listen, people not just gonna get mad at you unless they're crazy. You know, Michael Thomas is not crazy. He's passionate and he's a little throw it off, but he's not crazy. So if he's upset, it's obviously something that you did him on the field or you're doing to upset the players. Because it wasn't just Michael Thomas that was upset. You pissed off McCoy. You pissed off several other Saints players during that time period. When you was fussing and barking, there was no mention of you fussing and barking and like you knew what you was doing when you didn't know what the hell you were doing. We watched the games. That's when I sit here and watch and listen to these people. They just have this revisionist history like, yeah, man, this is what it was. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. It's not like that. He said, I never once pointed out any of them. He said, I never once pointed out any of my mistakes, of any of his mistakes. I forever will make mistakes in football games. So will every player ever. It's one thing to do that. It's another thing to think you're calling something out when it's not even there. So it wasn't there that you was staring down one side of the field? It was definitely there. The film shows it. See, that kind of crap is, see what I'm saying? That's why that's how I have very little confidence in these people. This is an interview did recently, man. Bro, where did these freaking people come from, man? Is accountability a lost art? It must really be. Oh, they just attacking me because I make $150 million. That's why people don't like me. I'm a good guy. I don't lie. I tell the truth all the time. No, you didn't. You lied in the press conference. Oh, we got the answers. The answers are in the building. Okay, the report asks, well, what's the answers? Oh, I can't tell you. They're in the building. And then the next game, go out and lose. And the game after that. No. Well, I mean, that's why I need a Clint Kubiak. I need to find out how accountable is Clint Kubiak because you don't get any accountability from this guy, man. Listen to this. Listen to this. It's like Michael Thomas just did that because he was just, I can't explain it, man. It's like, okay, I'm gonna play victim. He's just hating on me. He's just mad at me, and I understand it. And we just let him be mad. Sometimes people get mad at you, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's something you can do about it, Mr. Carr. The thing you can do about it is own up the fact that you were staring down half the goddamn field for most of the year. That's why the offense was stalling out, because you was check down Charlie, and you wasn't going through your goddamn progressions. I know because I watch every damn game on all 22 film, some of them twice. It's recorded on Patreon, patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. No accountability, man, with these people. That's why we need somebody that's accountable to make these people accountable. They can't spell the word. Man ain't just mad at you because you just, I don't understand. No. You understand perfectly. You were staring down half of the field while guys were open on the other side. That's a problem. That's a big problem. That's something a guy that's supposed to be a decade in the game not supposed to do. He ain't supposed to be out there staring people down. They got college quarterbacks that know better than that. As for the receivers room with Michael Thomas, Cars think they'll just be fine. Mike is a competitor. I'm sure we will miss his intensity at practice. With that said, I'm ecstatic about the guys that we have in the room. Chris Olave looks bigger, stronger, faster, which is crazy to me. He wants to be the best. I think that was a tough transition last year because he started to turn into the number one guy, which is hard for guys, but Chris had earned it. Boy, did he. It was a tough year for Chris Olave. This room with Coach Dub, which is Keith Williams, the new coach, I expect some pretty awesome things. I really do. Dub is the greatest coach I've ever been around in my life, just from getting most of the guys. He says, so I can't wait to see what he's able to do for these young men. We're in a great place. We're communicating. We're talking about things. We're working. We're spending time together. Expectations for 2024. The Saints were favored to win NFC South in 23, fell short of the goal on the final day of the season. The 9-8 season left the feeling that New Orleans had missed perhaps his best remaining chance to win a veteran roster. The Falcons and Bucks had both shorter odds in 2024 than the Saints, who were recently listed 30th in the Athletic Post draft power rankings. But Carr doesn't see it that way. Honestly, I'm probably more excited now that nobody thinks we can do it. He says, Carr said last year was, oh my gosh, they're going to do this and they got this and this schedule. It's like no one expects anything from us right now. And honestly, it feels better that way. When your back's up against the wall, his college coach, Pat Hill, always told me you got two choices. You either coward away or you can fight. Wish we'd have had that last year. Wish we'd have had the "you can fight" mantra last year. And that one win away is propaganda. It's big time propaganda. The Saints gave up wins. They gave up wins and earned losses last year because their inability. And I'm gonna say this again because we watched the games here. The Saints lost many of these games because they couldn't adjust. And I'm talking about from the head coach level. If you have the offensive side of the ball, and they were struggling early on in the season, they were struggling. They couldn't run the ball. The offensive line was a mess. Derek Carr was kind of confused, and I give him credit for that because it was a new system he was trying to implement. He didn't know all that, and the Saints was putting too much on him to go out and perform. I kept saying the way you were going to have success is we got to run the ball. The Saints could not effectively run the ball earlier. They couldn't do it for whatever reason. So we had the majority of all these games when you see the Saints losing these games, the offensive line couldn't get nothing going. They couldn't run the ball effectively. Elvin would run into the hole and get 2 hard-earned yards. Jamal Williams would run into the hole, get 1 yard. And then we seen Kendra Miller toward the back end, a one-cut runner who was able to elude the first tackler and able to climb to the second level. Jamal Williams is just basically a north-south power back. He hits the hole with full force. You have to have that thing open for him so that he can get to that second level. But what's really interesting, the Saints running attack was terribly inconsistent because the offensive line was not there. They were garbage. They didn't play with any ferocity. They had issues with pinning, and all that was behind Doug Marrone. So what did Dennis Allen do? He didn't do a damn thing. He didn't demote Doug Marrone at all during the season. There was no demoting of him when he earned that demotion. He should have been demoted. And at least Jari Evans should have been given an opportunity to see what he can do with the line during the season. That never happened. The offensive line, not the offensive line, talk about the offensive line, the offensive coordinator position ran by Pete Carmichael was stinking. It was garbage. The play calling was awful. It was inconsistent. It was terrible. It was milquetoast. And he didn't attempt to change any of that. At least have Curry, who's the passing game coordinator at the time, to at least call the plays to see if the offense could adjust to this. You see what I'm saying? These adjustments, these little tweaks during the season could have given you not just one, but a couple of wins. The Saints did not adjust anything. They kept the same people in place until injuries hit. Then they started changing people up because of injuries. Dennis Allen put no pressure on the offensive side, and he allowed the Saints offense to do what they did early on. If he had made adjustments early on, we could have got stuff. And he's the reason why the Saints lost a lot of these games early on. The Green Bay game, they couldn't maintain a lead. The game to Minnesota, they had a guy they pulled off the trade cycle, the guy, the astronaut, what's his name, with the big head. Forgot the man name. They didn't even have Cousins. Cousins was hurt. We got beat by a guy that just got traded to the Minnesota Vikings, and they beat the Saints. And them people was missing their 2 best players, and they beat the Saints. Then the Saints go into the bye week, come out of the bye week, and lose to Atlanta. Just giving away games and opportunities, losing up against rookies. We had an opportunity. We played up against rookies, and young teams couldn't beat them because the Saints wasn't on code. They weren't prepared to play and win games. But at the end of the day, we were 1 win away, man. Get your ass out of here with that, man. They don't adjust. That man did not adjust his game plan during the year. He didn't do it. And if guys start struggling offensively, what does Dennis Allen do? He didn't put no pressure on them guys offensive. And that's really Mickey Loomis too, because Mickey Loomis didn't put no pressure on Dennis Allen. So why would he put pressure on his offensive coordinator? Why would he care? He's safe. He feels safe. But honestly, going back to what Carr's saying, honestly, I'm probably more excited about this. Nobody thinks we can do it. Pat Hill always told me you have 2 choices. You can either cower away or you can fight. Our team has chosen to fight, and we will see where that leaves us. We're not going to get into expectations. We're not going to get into what we think or hope can happen. We're just going to be quiet and work, and we're going to show up week 1 and show our fans and show our city what we've been working on. Okay. That's Derek Carr. Recent interview here by him here. I still don't like the way Carr is talking because he doesn't. He shucks his responsibility. He shouldn't thinking Michael Thomas just hating on him for, I don't know why he doing that. I don't know why he's tweeting. I didn't do him nothing. I had bought him a plate of pasta. I don't know why he's doing that. No, man, he doing that because you stunk. You was staring out. You were totally unfundamental. And see, that to me, how that just shows me, are you really watching tape? Who's watching tape with this man? Who's sitting down saying, listen, Derek Carr, listen, if I'm watching tape with Derek Carr and I'm saying, listen, Derek Carr, do you want to be a better quarterback to help the Saints win games? The answer should be yes. If that is indeed the case, Derek Carr, why are you doing this? Explain this to me. If I'm the head coach and I'm the offensive coordinator or the QB coach, and I'm looking at the tape and I'm saying, listen, we want to improve your game. So we're watching this film right here. What are you looking at over here? Why are you staring this side of the field down when this other guy, why didn't you go through your progressions like you were trained to do? What's going on here? What are you doing? I mean, I don't understand this. Don't this man realize this? That he's staring down? He did that a lot last year. You're not supposed to do that, bro. And I'm sitting up here looking, I'm like, is this guy out of his mind? Is he taking too many shots to the head? And I know and see, a lot of it, I want to give it to him because he was pumped up on that dope. He was pumped up. His eyes was bulged. I said, that guy ain't even out there, man. He wasn't even, you was looking at his eyes bucking. Oh my God. He out there all shook up on that dope. I'm like, man, this dude is doped out of his mind out here playing. Man, saying he had to take weeks off after the season because he was in pain to rehab. I'm like, hold on, what? What? Saints ain't worth shit, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. If they had that man out there like that, and you had healthy quarterbacks that could have came in, you didn't have to do that guy like that because you opened them up to more than just potential people hitting them and knocking them down, so he'd be even hurt even more so. Remember, there was a time when the guy planted him. That's how he got messed up and had to get carted out of there. He had to go to the hospital. We was reading the report talking about they x-raying his midsection. I was like, this guy got busted ribs. I remember we saying that. Tragic. Shout out to Tragic. We covered the report. I'm like, why are they x-raying his ribs? They did it at the hospital, the report after he got planted. And I was like, oh, he's not going to be available the next game. Like hell, Dennis Allen said, I want y'all to go to the basement. I want you to open up that locker and get out the best good pain-killing dope that you can find. Make sure you get the high-rated stuff that if you got a busted leg, you can actually go out there and do backflips. We want that good stuff. And then they proceeded to give it to him, and he was running out there, eyes bucking and eyes bucking, and oh my God, I feel amazing. The Saints ain't shit if they did that to that man. They ain't did that. You got Jameis standing up there healthy. You got Jameis standing over there. Jameis like, hey, man. Jameis had to be resorted to singing Move Bitch to get out the way, It's crazy. Jameis saying ludicrous. Move, And Carr sitting up there all doped up looking at him like, what's going on here? What's going on? Oh my God, man, come on. Dude, that's awful, man. I almost feel bad for that man, bro. To have him out there like that, I would never do that to my players, man. I would never do that. And they call themselves talk about they got a lot of love for the player. And I can understand what's going on with Ryan Ramczyk because these people don't give a shit about these players, man. To do that to them, man. To put him out there with busted up ribs. Man, say he had 3 broken ribs and they shot him up with dope when the only thing they had to do was put the backup quarterback out there who would have played better than he was, or at least they would have, he's playing about the same, if not Jameis a little bit better. They don't give up rat's ass about these players, man. I can understand what's going on with Ramczyk. They should have shut Ramczyk down and said, listen, bro, we care about you. We don't want to put you through this. That's why we got backups behind you. That's why we got stuff in contingency plans in place if people get hurt, that we can do this. I don't want to risk you. You already have broken ribs. You got 3 broken ribs and a tore up shoulder. Man, listen, bro, we're going to I know you don't want to, and I know you think you're a gladiator and you can play through it, but listen, man, we're not going to do that to you, man. We're going to sit you down, okay? You're not good to go, okay? We're going to sit you down. You might not like it, but you'll thank me in the long run, because it's all about, even though we want to win the game, it's all about the health of our players, man. It's about the health of our players. We're going to have to sit you down. And then you look at Ramczyk with a degenerate knee issue, which means it's not getting better. And he has to have major surgery on that knee, which means that more than likely it's career ending. So instead of saying, listen, Ram, we done played with you. We done did this for the last several years, man. We can't do this. Listen, we get the surgery and then see if you can get back. And I promise you, if you make it back and seeing where we are, we'll see what we got going on here. But you made a lot of money here. We're caring about, we want you to be all right health-wise, because that's what it's all about. Go get your surgery, bro. You're going to have to move on. That's what it's about. That's what it is. You make the call, you stick with it. These people, man, I tell you, man, unbelievable. Shot him up with he even said it in the article. Let me run that back to y'all. He said it in the article. He said he shot him up with the good dope. This is what he said. And I was saying that because the eye guys was eye bucking, and people that take painkillers. You know how it is. But this is industrial strength painkillers. It's the same stuff they used to give Tony Romo when he was busted. He had to bust it up back, and he was out there throwing the football 40 yards down the field, and his back to him. I'm like, how this dude could do this? They took his spine out and put a robot spine in that? Nah, it was that dope. Let me put it here. He mentioned it in this article here. Hold on. When they talked about his health, but he didn't say it like me. You know how I talk. Hold on. Let me see. Here it is right here. This is what he says. He said, here it is right here. He says, really the next month and a half was very frustrating. You're trying to prove to everyone that you can be out there, but knowing you're not going to put your best foot forward. Why would you be out there if you're not going to put your best foot forward? Why would you not? I just read that. I'm processing that. I'm like, you can't be selfish like that. Like, if you can't put your best foot forward, then you shouldn't play. If you're not, because you're going to end up hurting your team and yourself. But anyway, put my best foot forward. But at the end of the day, nobody cares, man. You just want to, yeah, you damn right. The Saints damn sure don't care. The injury was so severe that he didn't do upper body lifts or even throw a football for 2 months after the season ended, while he rehabilitated and recovered. 2 months after the season was over. Asked how he was able to play in games despite the pain. Quote, we had a good plan with the training staff and doctors to make sure I was at my best on game day. It's a pause. It's better living through chemistry sometimes. I'll just say that way. It's better living through chemistry. That's dope. That's painkiller. What kind of painkiller you got with this dude talking about he needed to take 2 months off from doing anything after the season to rehabilitate off of that? And they had what kind of industrial strength painkiller they running around here, man? The Saints ain't shit, man. They really ain't, man, to do that to that guy, man. That's sad, man. That's sad. Because I love football, but I care about people more. You can't do that to them guys, man. Like, I was pissed off with the Minnesota Vikings in that game with TJ Hawkinson. I know he got a concussion. The dude popped him in his damn helmet. He went down. That son bitch coach sent him right back out there. I was like, where the NFL at? The NFL ain't shit. I seen the man go out there. He was stumbling around. He went off to play for a couple plays and came back out there and stayed cooking the Saints. I'm like, this guy, I know he was concussed because he had all of the visual symptoms of a concussion. He was stumbling after he got hit in the helmet. He went out for 1 play or 2, and then they sent him right back in. I was like, man, these people ain't shit, man. All this safety rhetoric. When they come down, boy, I tell you what. And then they'll never talk about this. All this stuff here, and they won't criticize the Saints one word about how they treating these injured players, man. But anyway, that's why people don't think he was hurt. They think he BSing. Like, man, how you think the guy is hurt? Because Q, come on, he's just using that as an excuse. The Saints, I can get why they saying that because the Saints denied it the entire year, and then when the team was not obviously not going to make the playoffs, then they come out with the information and say, well, he had 3 broken ribs. See, that's very disingenuous reporting. That's very sneaky, underhanded way of doing things. If he hurt, just tell the truth. And if he too hurt to play your backup quarterback. Don't open this guy up for more injuries. And he got hit a lot while he was dealing with supposed broken ribs. It's sad, man. It's so sad. You don't do that to them players, man. What's up? Jay Black says they didn't want JW to make him look bad, man. It can't be. I agree. I agree with you, bro. Inevitable said I meant to say you're not the QB of any team for 9 years if you're average. Ronnie says NFL's hypocritical. They would suspend a player for PDs, but will dope a man up and put him on the field. I mean, that is hypocrisy at its highest levels. They're so full of it. It almost makes me sick to my stomach, man. The hypocrisy that we got to deal with these sports teams, and then they come out with this fake ass appearance of humbleness and nobility, and talk to the family members, the supporters of the team, like they hired him. Like Mickey Loomis was set up there and talked to the Who Dat Nation with some elitist mentality. And I was lambasting out. How dare you? You're an employee. You ain't, man, you're an employee. You get your money from us. If we say you don't get money, you don't get money, playboy. Bottom line. We pull your whole card. Excuse me. That's terrible, man. It's terrible, man. We got to put these people in a place with this rhetoric and this nonsense. I don't want to hear it. I just want to see the results. If these players are too hurt to play, then don't play them players, man. Don't do that to them guys. And there's Derek Carr basically telling you that he took 2 months off of doing anything just to rehab, and they were hitting his ass up during the season. He wasn't, he was taking hits. He still was getting knocked in the ground. He's getting slammed on the ground, and he had all this going on. That's a damn shame, man. But nobody gonna hold him to the carpet. They're gonna just forget all this shit, man. It's just sad, man. Now you can see what's going on with Ramczyk. Now you can see how the real mentality is about some of these players. He making $150 million. Some bitch gotta have his arm tore off for them not to play. Terrible. He said they're really giving those 2 rookie QBs 2 years to produce. Now they're expecting them to make an impact immediately. In some cases, what's up, Barbara? Shout out to my queen. She says Carr is in somewhat of a better situation this year. Hope he's more familiar with the capabilities of his teammates now. He just have to learn a new offense. Let's help him out with the running attack. T. Will says Carr must have been on them painkillers from Uptown. Bro, I don't know what it was, man, but the guy, I remember, and it was, man, y'all put one in the chat. We was doing these games, and I was saying it during the game. I said, this guy is pumped up on painkillers. Look at his eyes bucking out of his damn head. That guy didn't know what planet he was on half the time. He didn't know what planet he was on half the time. Inevitable says they released him because he got injured leg. They would have owed him a ton of money. I don't know what y'all talking about here. True says, what's good? What's up, True? Shout out to you, man. Inevitable says, that's why we benched him. Okay, I already read that one. Jay Black says Carr needed a full restoration. Indeed, bro. I hope the son bitch is healthy right now, man. And oh my God, Saints. Oh, man, Dennis Allen. Man, dude. It's just like, it's just disappointment after disappointment. That's like, dude, you don't do that to them players. You don't do that to the players, man. You don't do that to them. If you're supposed to have better sense than is, because they're gonna say they're gonna want to play. That's how professional athletes have been conditioned. There's a program that's been given to professional athletes from all the way up from the playground up through middle school to high school to college and ultimately into the pros. And that was cultivated because the NFL and these owner groups that run these things, they fund all the way down to the playground. That's why they always have a nonstop flow of talent to feed these leagues. Because if you're running a professional league, your league wouldn't be valid for 20 years or 30 years or 40 years or 50 years. And we talk about leagues that are up there in terms of how old they are. In order for your leagues to be functioning where you could keep banking out and be viable, you have to make sure you maintain an endless stream of talent to feed these leagues. And that starts from the playground. So you see a lot of NFL and NBA initiatives that do that. They fund from the playground all the way up and through, because they know that that's the pipeline that they have to lock into to feed these leagues so they can make billions of dollars. Well, during that pipeline, a lot of the propaganda or the programming that's given to these children who start off in the playgrounds all the way up until, if you make it to the pros, is playing hurt. That's something that has been put into the program, that's programmed into the minds of these players to play hurt. Because if I pay you the money, I know you banged up, it's a physical game, you still gonna have to play. The only way you don't play is if you have something broken where you can't get out there, you can't stand, or if the pain is just too unbearable. And then that's the only reason. But any other way, you're gonna play, and you're gonna earn this money. And that's the case, that's the mentality. And that's why you look at the leagues and you look at the NBA, which is a monopoly league. They done bought up a lot of foreign leagues. They stole Lamar, what's his name? Lamar Ball. His ideas when he started that college league, that not a college league, but he started the league as an alternative. His little basketball league, he started that as an alternative for children who didn't want to go to college, but he provided a professional league for them to want to go and make money playing basketball. Well, that's the same as the foreign leagues. My nephew did that. He went straight from college into the foreign leagues and played. Where was he at? In South America? I think he played in South America, a few other places. But the NBA owns a lot of these foreign leagues. They don't tell you that. And then they create universities or campuses in foreign countries. And right now, that's the big thing. That's why we see an infusion of players coming from Africa and other areas in Europe. You see, many years ago, the European game was way behind the NBA game. You seen it during the Olympics. We would tell them people up. We would tell Europeans up. We tell everybody up. It doesn't change now because a lot of these places have campuses or training areas where they're there training them and bringing them up to a level where they're taking talent from Europe, they're taking them from Africa, they're taking them from South America, they're taking them from all these areas, and they feed this endless stream of people into their pipeline so they can continue to be monopoly and make billions of dollars. That's just what it is. It's deep when you think about it. And somewhere along the line, the mentality is to disrespect the players, like the health of these players, even though the legal departments, because those leagues are ran by lawyers. I doubt any of these people can dribble a basketball. I doubt any of these people can shoot a hoop. I doubt most of them can't make a layup. I doubt most of them can't throw a football or catch a damn football. It don't matter. They got the brains. They run the leagues. And the guys who can throw and can catch work for the guys that can't. So the idea the NBA took from them, like they took the G League concept, they borrowed that game from LeVar Ball, because what he did was he said, now I'm going to provide an alternative. The NBA looked at it and said, hey, man, that's not a bad idea. So we're going to copy that, because that's what they're doing with the G League, the G League Unite, all these guys that have an opportunity, that don't want to play, that was going to that wanted to play pro, but there's a stipulation there that what we're going to do is we're going to go overseas, like Brandon Jennings did many years ago, go make his millions of dollars overseas, and then when the time has come, apply for the draft a year later, and then get up in the draft. That's what they were doing at the time. League says, nah, we can do something here. What we'll do is we'll create this league, we'll bring them in here, and then we'll be able to make money off their name. They are tied to us, and then we could take that and then draft them out of the G League into the NBA. And they had a ton of players that were G League players that went from the G League to the NBA. Both entities are owned by the NBA. All of that, the WNBA, the G League, the NBA, foreign leagues that they got tied to, all this kind of stuff, all ran by the same group. It's a monopoly league. So like I'm saying, saying all that because at some point people have to understand, and we have to recognize the power that we have. It's just understanding, like during the process, so many people going through the process that the idea of health gets lost on the players because there's so many people coming in and they're thinking that these people could be expendable, they could be replaced. So I would say the lawyers who run it would then say we're all about safety, and then you see Derek Carr in the article saying that he had to that he couldn't do nothing for 2 months after the season. He had to rehab for 2 months after the season. That he was pumped up on that good dope, throwing the football and all this, couldn't even do lifts or nothing, but he could throw the football every day, every game. That's a terrible thing, man. We seeing Inevitable says, Q, I'm saying the Raiders bench Carr the last 2 games because if he got injured, they would have been. Oh, that's true too. That is a good point right there, Inevitable. That's true. Uncle Paulie, what's up, bro? Says Q. What type of knee injury Big Ram had? Because remember, Willie Rofe hurt his knee and came back and played before the season was over. I don't remember. I mean, in terms of Ram, I think it's his left knee, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember reading about left, it's a degenerate, and they call it a degenerate situation. But we know when most big guys get those knee issues, it's never a good thing. So I think, and it's the Saints have been very patient, and it's not nothing new. Ramczyk been dealing with this injury because he got hurt, the first year of his contract extension? I want to say it happened then. He got hurt that knee the first year. I think it was the first year, maybe the second year. I want to say it's the first year, if my recollection serves, of the because they gave him the contract extension. I think that first year into the extension, he hurt that knee, and they've been tearing him up for the duration to the point where you don't even recognize Ramczyk. It's like you're not the same dude, man. You got to sit down, bro. You got to set it down, man. I feel bad for them guys, man. I really do. Ronnie says, then he had the nerve to say he was going to drink a beer after the game. Yes, indeed. Barbara says, I don't ever want to see him again prevailing when Meacham on the team. Yes, a lot of crap with the Saints. Marley says, Q, you see Lou Dort can't defend nobody for the Mavs. No, I wasn't even watching, bro. Arva says, okay, I'm back. Carr was released because of an injury clause in his contract. Barbara says Carr was due $40 million payday with the Raiders, and they didn't want to pay that. The silly Saints did instead. Well, you could thank Dennis Allen for that. Inevitable says, no, they benched him because they wouldn't got hurt. They would have owed them big money. This is true. This is true because they said it was about his play. He was pissed off about it because it cost him a little money when they benched him, But in the end, they ultimately realized and knew that they were going to get off Carr. They were going to get rid of him. His time was up. They knew that. They was trying to trade him. The Saints was trying to get Carr. Like when the season, and they were trying to really get Carr. Remember, and the Raiders had worked it out, but Carr turned it down. I think he had didn't he have some type of option on his contract where he could deny the trade, and the Raiders were going to ship his ass to the Saints prior to free agency. Remember that? And he turned it down because he wanted to go to free agency and see if he can get the kind of money that he wanted. And ultimately, the Saints, the only team that really wanted him was the Saints. They were going to pay him whatever he wanted. They gave him a blank check. It was not a very good move by the Saints to do that because, no disrespect to Derek Carr, they couldn't afford to pay the man $150 million without tying the team up for years under that big contract. The Saints really couldn't afford to do that, and they did it anyway. It just shows you how irresponsible they are, and then he blames it on C-19. Mickey Loomis do. That's why we be putting these people to the fire, because they be lying too much, man. Too much lying, man. Just keep it real and be accountable, man. Just tell the truth. Stop lying, man. Because it's just gonna make me call you out and call you out for being a liar. That's just I'm sick of them lying all the time about this stuff. Carr better than the QB. We've tried it out since Drew. That man. Paul says crimes. You're right. The Saints front office. All right, pathetic. Arvis says Carr would do bad with a bad online and good with a good online proves that he is mid. Well, I mean, the thing about Carr is like you can say that pretty much about any quarterback, can't you? If the offensive line is good and you got a running game, you're going to be successful unless the quarterback is just don't know what he's doing. But Derek Carr gives you, if he's healthy, he gives you a deep ball thrower, like a guy that could take the top off the defense. I was saying that before they signed him. When they signed him, like, this guy could throw the ball. That's his best pass. You're not known as a dinky donkey do type of guy, and that's what the Saints are trying to do him. They're trying to use him I'm like, nah. Play action Carr. I keep saying the same thing. Play action Carr, play action Carr, play action Carr. Play action Carr is the best we need to see from, because he learning a new offense, and we can't count on him to learn all that offense right away. It's a lot going on. you need the running attack. And I think Kubiak understands that. He said that in the interview, that he wants to run the ball, establish an identity. I'm for that because I think the best position group we have is the running back room in terms of the offense. So, I mean, until we find out what our offensive linemen are going to be and how they're going to be, we're going to have to see. All right. All right. Yeah, they got to stop the lies, man. Stop the lies, man. It just, that's what infuriates. Like, Q, you be on these guys. I'm like, yeah, bro, because you know how much of they junk I listen to. I listen to the interviews. I read their articles. I mean, we cover this stuff. I've been doing this, ain't nothing new. I've been doing this for a very long time. And I got a good memory. And I remember these guys operate like you don't know what they did. Like, bro, all your shit's on camera, dude. Your interviews are recorded. Your stuff is on camera. If I wanted to go watch a certain game that you were staring down people, I can go pull it up on NFL.com and watch the game. I can watch the all 22 as well. They act like they operate like you don't have a memory. And maybe some people can't remember what they ate yesterday or the week. Some people are like that. Not everybody, but they still have a certain segment of people that do remember these things. And that's what they do. That's what make them who they are. Like, man, you can't challenge me on nothing, none of this stuff, man, because I know where to go to get it, to put the receipts in your face. You can't. I got receipts. I got tons of receipts. And then I relate it back to the family members say, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, and that's right. Because we take it there. All this stuff about one game away and all of this stuff, man, listen, the problem with the Saints is we got accountability issues from the top on down. That's the big problem. If anything stops the Saints this year, it will be things it's not a field matter. And I keep saying this. It'll be a concept that will stop the Saints, and that is accountability. You've got to have accountability. It's not going to come from Dennis Allen because he doesn't know how to be accountable. It's not going to come from Mickey Loomis because Mickey Loomis lies about it and talk about the reason why the cap situation is all messed up because of the C-19 year that happened 4 years ago. Never mentioned the $150 million contract for Carr we couldn't afford, or the Marcus May contract, or some of these other foolish contracts we had over the last several years. That didn't have a part of it, and all that was done by your kicking the can and cooking the books mentality. Got the Saints screwed up from a cap standpoint for the next 2 to 3 years. More than that, actually, when you start working the numbers down. And then your hiring of Dennis Allen is going to cost us a top 5 cornerback. So instead of going and check Dennis Allen and reassuring Marshawn Lattimore that we want you here because we need you to win, you would rather than trade him to appease Dennis Allen. And Dennis Allen is the one that's off code and operating in a wrong position. But you got a Mickey Loomis character that can't tell shit from sugar. And if you tell him, like I told you, he'll get mad at you for telling him the truth. We don't need them type of people running nothing. It's an accountability issue. We just read the article from Derek Carr when he was talking about Michael Thomas. I can tell you right now, and unless you crazy or something, that dope was messing with your mind, that Michael Thomas was mad and tweeting at the season, probably because he probably had this communication with you. You saying that you had various communications with him. And he probably was saying, hey, man, listen, won't you just kind of look around the field? And you kept doing the same shit because he don't have any recollection that he's staring down the field. Like, that's what I always do. And I've been staring down the left side of the field, the right side of the field or whatever. That's why them guys are upset. He's upset because of how you operated at the quarterback level last year. That's why he was upset. That's why he was upset. And he wasn't the only one. They had other guys that was upset. They just wasn't as vocal as Michael Thomas. There's always a reason, man. He just wasn't coming at you because he didn't have nothing to do on that day. No, he was saying, man, listen, this is an issue, this is an issue, this is an issue. But instead of going and finding out and and doing research on the issues that he was talking about, they opted to go to the misdirect, which was to talk about, why is he tweeting on now? Don't you know that's not how you're supposed to do it? That's the wrong way. And totally misdirected the conversation of what he was saying. See, they aimed at the messenger as opposed to the message. That's a common misdirection to protect the team. Now, Michael Thomas, we don't have no skin in the game with him anyway, but we got to work with the Saints, so let's take their angle. I don't play that, man. The truth is the truth. Now, Michael Thomas was tweeting his ass off because he was upset with how Carr was operating the quarterback position. Now, Carr, you don't get that? You don't understand why he was doing it? Man, come on, man. Come on, bro. This shit ain't hard to figure out. It's not. That's why the man was upset. But common misdirection and propaganda techniques is to go at the messenger as opposed to the message. We ain't gonna deal with the message because that would take you back to Carr and the fact that he's operating unfundamentally out there. He needs to stop staring down one side of the field, go to his progressions like he was trained to do, or I think he was trained to do, and go and do it the right way. The accountability issue, that has to be something that has to be addressed by the offensive coordinator, because it damn sure ain't gonna be Dennis Allen. It damn sure ain't gonna be Mickey Loomis, because these guys have a track record of being not only off code but non-accountable. That is as real as I can tell you. This is a diehard, man. Y'all know who I'm talking. If they had it, I would say it. And I've been watching them, listen to them. They don't have it, fam. They don't have that, and you're going to need that if you're going to win. Because the team, and that's a lot to ask for Clint Kubiak, but that's all we got. That's all we got, because they don't even realize it. The Dennis Allens and the Mickey Loomises doesn't even realize it. Mickey Loomis, you're a fool if you trade Marshawn Lattimore. You are a fool if you trade Lattimore, when it's easy for you to go in there and discipline Dennis Allen for throwing his team under the bus, or whatever grievances that Laddie Daddy has with Dennis Allen could be worked out if you put your goddamn hat in the ring and do your goddamn job, instead of changing his contract around to get rid of the trade him and then stand behind Dennis Allen like Dennis Allen don't have no goddamn fault. Dennis Allen out here doing everything. Never heard Mickey Loomis criticize one goddamn thing about him. That's the problem I have with these people. That's the problem I have. It's sad, man. It's a cold-blooded game, man, but in the end, it is what it is. It is what it is. So if I'm looking like I don't have any faith in no Mickey Loomis, man, he's a joke. Dennis Allen is a joke. The only faith I have right now is in Clint Kubiak. Can he turn things around from an offensive standpoint? Can he bring accountability to an area that lacked accountability last year? And that's just his area of the team. That's even the full team, fam. That's the offense under accountability. Then you would hope that people start mimicking what Clint Kubiak is doing in the rest of the rooms. And you just hope that that aspect of the team gets on code so you can have some success, because it's not going to come from the general manager and the coach. And once again, has there ever been a situation where this worked before, when you had a guy that's coming in here and he has control of the offense? He's not the head coach, but he's a guy that comes in here and he'd be tasked to do all this stuff, get a running game, an identity, accountability, high stress practices, all this kind of stuff. Can this work? I got faith in Clint Kubiak is all I got, fam, because I damn sure don't got it in the rest of them. That's for certain. All right. So anyway, with that being said, let me cut up out of here, man. Listen, as a black and gold person, that's all you got, because like I said, man, that's all we got. We got to see what these offensive coaches can do. John Benton, the offensive line coach, and Williams, the wide receiver coach, and all these other guys. We got to see what they can do to improve our offense, because that is the big thing right there. The offense has to get going again consistently. We have to run the ball. We have to do that. And, and that's a big part of it. That there is anything else. All right. So anyway, with that being said, let me cut up out of here, man. Before I go, there's a poll that's up, family. Y'all hit the like button for me. There's a poll up that's in the chat right now. And it's 120 plus votes right now. What is the strongest need remaining for the Saints? Offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver, and the secondary? It's not even close. Well over 100 people said 71% is the offensive line is our biggest need remaining, the offensive line. So the Who Dat Nation, the Great Saint Think Tank, has spoken. 71% of the people say O-line is still our biggest need, boy. And it's also the most important need, isn't it, family? So anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna cut out on that, man. Tomorrow we'll see what time it is, man. I know tomorrow is the 10th. That's when the rookie minicamp stuff. We'll cover that as well. Probably get an earlier stream going. We'll see. Also, like later on tomorrow, the Pelican postgame report. We'll be doing a live call-in show tomorrow. Be talking Pelicans, going over some stuff as well for the Pelicans on Friday night. We'll be opening up the phone lines on the Pelican post-game report as well. So just to let you guys know. If you want to support the stream, feel free to join our YouTube channel or go to patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. The link's in the description section below, the whothatdaily.com. Support and share our articles, help our writers out, help the site out. Been doing it for 4 years, man, and it's growing, man. Very proud of the whothatdaily.com, man, and what we've been able to do. Come a long way, family. Because of y'all support, man, we came a long way. Our own sports website, our own writers, a lot of stuff going on. I'll be a busy guy. I'm always moving and shaking, doing different things. But listen, fam, listen. We've come a long way, haven't we, family? We've come a long way, man. And it's because of a lot of your support. And we're going to continue to keep doing our thing, man. We're going to keep growing and moving and improving, man. So with that being said, I'd like to thank all of you guys for chiming on the show tonight. Y'all, please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share the show on your social media feed. If you're on Twitter, please feel free, if you're listening on Twitter, do me a service and hit the retweet button as well. With that being said, I'm going to cut out on that, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all keep your heads up. Y'all have a fantastic Friday, and I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
whothatdaily.com. That's right, the whothatdaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, whothatdaily.com is your site. The whothatdaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right. right? The Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform